Good morning, it's Miss Madison, and today we're going to be working on college application letters. So let's get started. So first thing we want to look at is the actual assignment. So your assignment is to write an application essay to college. You can choose to respond to one of the common application prompts, which we're going to go over. I recommend this because the Common App applies to over 500 colleges, including most of the ones in Colorado. So it's kind of a good place to just kind of start with your application process. Or you can do research and find the prompt for a specific college. If it's not a college that's on the Common App, you can figure out what their requirement is. So for example, CU Boulder requires the Common App and they have their own additional little paragraph about like what does it mean to be a buff or something. So you can make sure that like when you're applying, like you kind of look at their application and see if they require anything beyond or if they don't take the Common App. So these are not super long. They're only like the max is 650 words. So if you think about that, it's really not that long. It's maybe like a page and a half or so. So this is not a huge long assignment, which means that every paragraph really needs to count. So we're going to spend time the first week just starting to get your ideas out and starting to draft it. And then week 2, you guys will be actually finalizing those drafts and turning them in by May 10th, which is a Sunday. Okay, good. So this will be our last real sort of writing assignment. The other thing you guys are working on is your choice book projects. And those are due toward the end of May. So this is really your last sort of main essay assignment. Okay, good. So let's check out the prompts. These are for the Common App, and they have the same prompts they had last year, which is nice. So the first prompt is some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent so meaningful that their application would be incomplete without it. So this is very open, like any kind of background experience you have, this is your interest. So if you kind of love playing music, or if you love painting, or you love math, or whatever, you want to combine all those into your interests, this is a good place to showcase and kind of highlight that. The second prompt is lessons we learn from obstacles we encounter and how that changed you and made you better and gave you success later. So recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you and what did you learn from this experience? So notice with this one, we don't want to just focus on the failure and how awful it was, or like the challenge and how difficult it was. You really want to spend at least a good portion of the essay talking about the experience and how it changed you and how you learned from it, and now you're in a different place. So make sure you're kind of aware of that. Like, don't just focus on the bad stuff that happened. Focus also on like what you learned from it and how you're happy you had that experience and why. Number 3, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. So this is really just kind of a place to showcase and highlight people who believe in new ideas, right? And that happens because you challenge an old way of doing something, or maybe just like a typical way of approaching something and you're like, let's do it different. So this is a place to kind of highlight if you have that kind of creative element in your life. This is a good place to highlight that one. Describe a problem you've solved or a problem you'd like to solve. So this is a really great prompt to do, especially if you want to sort of double duty this essay and turn it into both scholarship and college application. So you've got this, this is a very common prompt, right? Like there's problems in the world, try and solve them. So you're going to get that prompt in a lot of scholarship applications. So it's kind of nice to choose this prompt if you just want to kind of have your essay double duty. But again, the hard part then is to like figure out what kind of dilemma or problem you would like to solve. And it could be on any scale. So it could be small, personal, or it could be like larger. It's up to you. So you want to talk about why this is a significant problem and then how you would like to overcome it. So this could be really highly technical and like serious and factual, or it could also just be like the way people approach each other, any kind of problem you'd like to solve. Number 5, discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. So this is, again, kind of a place to highlight a realization or something that changed in you when you had personal growth. It could be an accomplishment, event, or realization. It doesn't necessarily have to be an obstacle or a challenge, but just something that like helped you come to a greater understanding of yourself and others. Obviously, you would be highlighting what that growth was, right? Number 6, describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging it makes you lose track of all time. So this is for the people who have that thing where they just can't stop thinking about it. 2 o'clock in the morning, you're still like sort of thinking about this. You're constantly trying to like tweak it a little bit, or you can't stop learning about it. You're really into this topic. So this is a place to highlight those kinds of passions that just really move you and keep you going. Number 7. So number 7, they added, and it's kind of nice. You can literally choose an essay that you've already written. You can make your own prompt. So they're letting you be very open with this prompt. So if none of the other prompts are really working for you and you have an idea for a different prompt, this is where you can bring that in. So if you're going to do number 7, obviously just give me what the prompt that you've chosen is so that I know like this is what's going on with that. Okay, good. So they also, just so you guys know, if you click into there, you'll find it on our agenda. The Common App also has resources down here, so you can check out that. Okay, good. So next I want to look at the most original example. Okay, good. So I'm just going to read it and then just kind of pay attention to what you notice. What did they do well? What works for this essay? So the prompt was that this was the background story that this was like prompt number 1, that background or interest that your application would be, pointless without it. So before we start reading, I just want to kind of point out when it comes to this prompt, you want to think about, when it comes to this assignment, you want to think about like your audience, right? So your audience is usually like in their 20s or early 30s. They often are familiar, if you're applying to a Colorado school, they're familiar with Rocky. They're the people who come here for college application or college days. These are people who've read a lot of these types of essays, but they're also, the whole point of this, the goal of this assignment is to communicate who you are as a person so that they get to see your resume, right? Like they see all of the numbers and all the stuff you've done, but they don't get to see like who you are as a person. So you want to communicate that, like get a feel for your voice, make like a real person like walking around that they can picture on their campus. So the real goal of this is to share like who you are as a person. It's not like a super academic research paper. It's more of a narrative where you're telling a story that helps us really picture who you are. You can use I statements in these. You can use your imagery, and I really recommend that I know you guys have heard this before. All English teachers tell you like show it, don't tell it. So this is the part where you're really bringing us in and like helping us picture things. They want to like come in and be drawn into the narrative and like picture who you are and what's going on. So that's kind of some background on the actual assignment. Okay, good. So let's get reading. So it says, I won Most Original Pumpkin at a Halloween party years ago. I have the Most Original Award. It's a consolation prize. You can't be the best or the prettiest, so you have to be original. I've won the Most Original Award a fair number of times. I was even named Most Original at a basketball awards banquet. What does that even mean? How can anybody be most original when she's playing basketball? Recognizing the Most Original Award for the pity prize that it was, I grew increasingly hostile toward the very word original. If you win this cursed award, everyone around you offers feigned sympathy or even worse, insincere congratulations. Phrases like, oh bummer, or well-intentioned but half-hearted, well good for you, circle the recipient, creating a cyclone of regret from which the winner will never recover. Okay, maybe I'm overreacting, but I cannot for the life of me understand the award. Most original always lets me down. And as a result, I hated to be original in any context. In my hometown of New Haven, Connecticut, where normality was, well, the norm, I tried to be a typical student, absolutely perfectly normal. I blended into crowds, the definition of typical. I became a person who refused to surprise people, just another brick in the wall. Dull. Then I went to Berkeley for 6 months. It's an odd, vibrant place with odd, vibrant people. Originality is celebrated there, not in the half-hearted good-for-you way, but in the full-throated good-for-you way. One of the first fellow students to befriend me wore a corset tops and tutus and carried a parasol with which she punctuated her every utterance. Her best friend was a boy with purple hair who once wore a shirt with built-in LED lights for Christmas. They were the most popular people in school, in direct contrast to what was socially acceptable in New Haven. Our peers recognized them as being unique, but instead of ostracizing them or pitying them, the students in Berkeley celebrated them. In Berkeley, I learned the value of originality. Those who celebrate their individuality are not only unique but strong. It takes great strength to defy the definitions of others, and because of that strength, those who create their own paths discover a different world than those who travel the same worn road. I returned to New Haven a changed person. My appearance was certainly different. Red streaks in my hair and a newfound fondness for tutus certainly made me stand out. But the change went deeper than that. I had embraced the idea of myself, of being myself, no matter what others thought was cool or normal. I spent time in a place where most original was the highest compliment allowed me to explore myself without fear of being different or lesser, and I liked what I had found. I'm still skeptical about the most original award. In the context of an award ceremony, it's just a meaningless consolation prize. But I don't think of being most original as an insult anymore. I wear it as a badge of honor, proof that I am myself and no one else. A friend recently joked, if there was the quirkiest word in the yearbook, you definitely win. We were standing outside of a classroom and I was wearing a pair of gold glittery shorts that definitely caught the eye. Quirkiest, I said, how about most original? Okay, good. So what do we like about this essay? I definitely get a feel for who she is as a person. It's a good like conversational tone she's taking. She's got a great sense of humor, and you can kind of tell she's kind of joking about herself, kind of in the beginning especially. But with the most original award, there's a lot of voice in her writing. I can also tell that she is a good writer. Like she controls the language and she, uses various phrasing just to really make an effect. And, being a good writer is obviously something people are looking for on their college campuses. You can definitely do the college work that is going to be there. They're also going to probably see that she is someone who can influence people and like who stands out, and the fact that that's definitely a quality. So this essay does a good job of communicating her qualities, and I can picture her kind of thriving on a campus and helping to influence people and helping to embrace new people and embrace diversity, which is obviously a standard for most college campuses. So I think that her quality definitely comes out, her personality definitely comes out. So this is a strong essay for those reasons. Next, I want you guys to check out the pre-writing worksheet. This is posted on Classroom. So just getting on here, this is time for you to brainstorm. So major experiences and people who've influenced you. And just really take some time with this. It might take even a day or two just to process all the experiences you've had and really kind of ask your parents about it. Like think about major experiences or major parts of your life, people who have influenced you, things you really enjoy, your own interests and passions. What kinds of qualities do you want to communicate? And so this is a brainstorming sheet that you'll get credit for, and it's just a place for you guys to really think about narrowing in on like what do you want to communicate and what are your best qualities that you really want to share, and that kind of thing. I think that sometimes these essays, it's almost like a cliche when you have essays that go too far off the deep end and communicate maybe something too personal. So I think that's definitely a cliche about these, like where it's like, oh, you write about something so personal and it's just too much. So kind of be aware of that too. Like you can definitely write about hardships, but make sure it's something that you've kind of overcome and you've had time to reflect on. And this isn't like a place to just have sob stories. I think again that's kind of this idea that that's a good essay, and it's really not. So kind of keep that in mind with your topics. Like who do you want to communicate? What do you want to communicate about who you are? Okay, good. So today you guys are working on just brainstorming, thinking about ideas. I recommend checking out these examples down here from part 2 if you want more examples to give you ideas. The ones from Johns Hopkins are great. There's also another link to more examples. So working through those kinds of examples. In the next video, I'm going to walk you guys through another example and grade it with the rubric so you can see like how these will get scored. They are 100 points, and so it's worth doing, your best. And also this is just good to do. Like you'll be grateful later when you have this done. Even if you're not applying to college, this is still great to have just as a narrative example of your life, and it kind of gives you that narrative practice. But it's also good if you ever do want to apply so you at least have an idea of what that would look like. Okay, good. I miss you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.